people, we're back again with the preview of today's match. South Africa against Australia. Mouth-watering clash. A battle of equals. बराबरी के हैं दोनों टीमें और मैच मुझे लगता है बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग। मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा यार कि कौन जीतेगा honestly. I can't give you just the way we did yesterday. India was clear favorites, but I don't see there's anybody whom you can call clear favorites today. मैच ईडन गार्डन्स में है और पिच इतना कंड्यूसिव नहीं होता बैटिंग के लिए। पाटा विकेट नहीं, मतलब गुड फॉर बैटिंग एंड गुड फॉर बॉलिंग है बोथ। यू नो इफ यू आर गुड इनफ तो यू कैन गेट समथिंग आउट ऑफ द विकेट। वैसा वाला विकेट होता है वो, तो विच ऑब्वियसली वो थोड़ा और कॉन्टेस्ट में थोड़ा एज ऐड कर देता है, बिकॉज जब बैटल ऑफ दी बराबर है बॉलिंग और बैटिंग के बीच में तो फिर भैया तो मैच इंटरेस्टिंग हो ही जाता है। खैर आगे बढ़ते हैं। तो अब हमको तो देखो कोई फर्क पड़ता नहीं ऑनेस्टली। एज एन इंडियन आई जनरली क्या होता है ना, आप कहते हो यार इससे खेल ले फाइनल में, उससे खेल ले। आई एम सो कॉन्फिडेंट अबाउट दिस इंडियन टीम, आई डोंट रियली केयर whom we are going to meet in the finals. And honestly, I do not really care whether it's South Africa, whether it's Australia. I think we can beat any of these two teams. तो आगे बढ़ते हैं, पूछते हैं संदीप से, हमारे इन हाउस स्पेशलिस्ट से, क्या टेक है उनका इस मैच के बारे में।
See, Eden Gardens is the most perfect venue for an imaginable contest between Australia and South Africa for the second semi-final. Okay. Now, in a knockout game, we got to forget everything that we know about form and fortune. It is the best team. It is the best team that on that particular day that's going to win. So Australia, South Africa, both are well-balanced attacks. It's going to be a nail-biting encounter. Eden Gardens, the kind of wicket that it is, it definitely may offer a exciting recipe to all of us this evening. That's what we're going to predict right now. And my call for today is, say, 55-45 in favor of Australia. And now, as we have been doing during the knockouts, we're gonna imagine a scenario where Australia bats first and South Africa chases down the target. So I'm gonna kick off. If at all Australia bats first, considering the fact that they have big match players, they have got a great experience of, say, Smith, Warner, and Mitchell Stark, Pat Cummins, all these guys have played in World Cup of finals in the past. So they have got quite a few experienced campaigners in their 11. So that makes them a bit more stronger side if at all they bat first. I'm anticipating if at all Australia bats first, they might go somewhere around 300, 310. It's just that the South African spinners may be a little threatening, both of them. You know, Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj has been a tremendous performer in this World Cup. We vary about Keshav Maharaj, but having said that, I still feel Australia has got the capability to score beyond 300, somewhere there. It is not going to be a 390, 400 wicket. It would, the scores may be somewhere around 300 to 325 or so. That's where the scores would be ranging in this match. So to me, Australia should score somewhere around 300, 325. Warner, watch out for Warner and Mitchell Marsh. Okay. And Travis Head could be a surprise package today. And on the South African side, I think Keshav Maharaj should be the one whom we anticipate to perform well, being the wicket being Eden Gardens. And South Africa, while chasing, should come very close, somewhere around 275, 285. Should be a very close game, but I still favor Australia if Australia bats first. Sachin, what's your take if Australia bats first?
Well, if Australia bats first, well, my odds for today's game is 50-50. I do not have any favorite. I think both teams have equal chances of winning the match. And if Australia bats first, I think then my percentage changes a bit. I would say 60 Australia, 40 South Africa. So I think if Australia bats first, Australia should win, because you know why? Because I think the two things. One, it negates South Africa's spinners to an extent because its spinners are much more dangerous when they're bowling second because
Yeah.
you have to score quick runs, you're chasing targets, then you have to hit them. There's no other option. You have to score runs against them. Then you tend to throw away wickets to them. And South Africa has two good spinners in their ranks. Keshav Maharaj, as Sandeep said, has been exceptional. He bowled well against India as well. 10 overs, 35 runs against Virat Kohli and company in the middle overs says a lot.
And
Tavesh
Shreyas
Shamsi,
Iyer, not only Virat Kohli,
yeah,
against
against Shreyas Iyer,
Shreyas,
who's a spin basher, as we all know. So, and Tabrez Shamsi, although he has not been in his elements in this World Cup, in spite of that, is good enough for Australian batters. They are not good players of spinners. I can tell you, Maxwell won't be able to tonk them around on a single leg. Let me tell you that. So, so it negates Australia batting first, negates South Africa spinners, plus South Africa is bad at chasing. It takes out Klassen, Dulcie Wender, Dustin, Quinton Deacock out of the game. And that's, if you take the three prime batters out of the game, then obviously it obviously is a lot. It doesn't augur well for South Africa. So that's my take. While what if Australia bats first? Now we are going to change script to what if South Africa bats first? And I can tell you that if South Africa bats first, I'm pretty gung ho on South Africa. My percentage goes as high as 75 South Africa and 25 Australia if South Africa bats first. One reason remains the same. We just have to turn the tables. Then South African spinners are much more threatening. And I don't see Australia having an answer to these two guys. I hope they play Tabrez Shamsi today. If South Africa doesn't play him, then it's a blunder in my view. So if South Africa bats first, then all their players come into the game. Klassen becomes dangerous, in slog overs. Rassie Van Derderson can play his game, initially biding his time, then scoring run the ball, then kind of trying to hit out at the end. Quinton de Kock comes into the play. He can give them a brisk start the way Rohit Sharma does for India. So that, batting first gives every South African player an opportunity to be in the game. That's where they are dangerous. And Australia doesn't have bowling like India. They have only one spinner, one good spinner. The others are part-timers. Adam Zampa won't be as effective. The same thing goes for Zampa. He won't be as effective if South Africa bowls first. South Africa can play him for 10 overs, 55 runs without taking much risk. So, and they can always tonk around. People like Klassen and Mitchell can tonk Maxwell around all day. So, and Australia's batting. The second thing, Australia's batting is weak against spin bowling. So, in my view, it makes a lot of difference in this game, especially. The toss is very important. South Africa bats first, then my odds are 75 South Africa, 25 Australia. As I said earlier, मुझे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता भाई ऑस्ट्रेलिया है फाइनल में साउथ अफ्रीका है. I think we are going to be good enough. So हम तो आज का मैच एंजॉय करेंगे without any pressure. अब हम चलते हैं संदीप के पास. संदीप, what is your take? What if South Africa bats first?
I agree with you. South Africa becomes a completely different side when they bat first. They play with a lot of luxury. They play with a lot of freedom. I won't be surprised if South Africa scores beyond 320 or 330 odd if at all they bat first, because Klassen comes into the picture and Markram can play more freely. As you said, Quinton de Kock is capable of giving them a great start. So that way South Africa becomes a completely different side. And I agree with you where Australia does not have a second spinner, a quality second spinner that can give South Africa great advantage to taunt the Australian bowling, because Cummins, Stark, and Hazelwood have been bowling well in parts, but they have not been that consistent. If at all they can target one or two pace bowlers, South Africa can target one or two Australian pace bowlers, and then if they can target the second spinners, say Maxwell or say Mitchell Marsh, if at all he bowls, I think that's going to be advantage South Africa. If at all they bat first, then I would call it 65-35 South Africa if South Africa bats first. And of course, if Australia bats first, it would be 55-45 as this is my prediction. But and also I think to chase down under lights and to play South African spinners, as you rightly pointed out, for Australia would be pretty challenging at Eden Gardens. Okay, if at all South Africa scores somewhere around 310, 315, or 320, or even beyond that, it's going to be very hard because, again, coming back to Australia's batting, right? Steven Smith has not been firing, and Mitchell Marsh scored a couple of hundreds, all right, but we got to see against which attack, against under what conditions. And Dave Warner is the only guy who can give them a good start, but we got to wait and see whether he's capable enough to play until the end, because 325 is a lot of runs on Eden Gardens. It's not going to be easy to chase down if at all South Africa scores somewhere around 310, 315 batting first. So the equation changes drastically and dramatically if South Africa bats first. So let us wait and see how this game spans out. I'm sure this is going to be a pretty exciting contest. I'm sure this would be a very closely fought encounter for sure, because this has to be a semi-final. This has to live up to the standards. Okay, that's how we expect every match to be from now on. Okay, so thank you very much. See you soon for our post-match South Africa and Australia.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bring it on.
Thank you.